Welcome, everyone, to Chirping Zebras, episode 67. Mark Riley alongside Gino Binder Jr., coming to you from AOA Studios up in Beverly, the place you want to go to when you want to tape something. And we want to thank our sponsor, the Referee's Crease, your one-stop shop for all your refereeing needs. And also want to remind you to like and subscribe on YouTube. Smash that like and subscribe button on YouTube. And also follow us on the social medias. Instagram, Facebook, and of course
the TikTok.
Thank you. So
nailed that one.
And you brought a little
I
display
did. I brought
today.
a little display. I should iron the shit, but I didn't. We got the T-shirts here. This is the back of the T-shirt, right? The front of the T-shirt. We also got the zebra on the front as well on a couple of T-shirts. But we got a ton of merch. ChirpingZebras.com. Go to it. Go scroll down to the bottom. You'll see all our merch. Click what you want. Send the order sheet to Riley. We'll get it out to you. We got sweatshirts, polos, you name it. We got it. And we got these trucker hats, but we don't have this, right?
That's a special.
This is a special. So what should we do? We should do some type of deal, like make 25 of them. First 25 people to
ask for one.
Yeah,
works for me.
Let's do it.
Works for me.
I'll take one.
All right. Well, I got one in the car for you. By the way, speaking of which, that T-shirt right there.
Yeah.
So I was in Aruba last week. Went to a beach bar called Carlitos.
Yes, been there.
And outdoors, perfect place to watch a hockey game. What I loved was they turned the music off and turned the play-by-play on.
Yes.
So they know how to do it.
Yep.
And Jose, my boy Jose, that was there, told there was all Boston stuff. And I said, what's the Boston? Not the clientele. Everyone's from Boston down there, right? And they all go there to watch the Sox, the Bruins
Patriots,
games, Patriots. So I had a T-shirt with me, a Chirping Zebras T-shirt. They put them up on the ceiling.
Did you take it off your back, or did you?
No. I'm old now. I don't do that in bars anymore. But I ran and got one at the place I was staying at, brought it back. And so if you are in Aruba and you go to Carlitos, you can look up and see Chirping Zebras right on the roof.
Absolutely.
On the ceiling.
And then go to ChirpingZebras.com and purchase one.
Yeah.
And what do we got? When are the polos coming out?
Soon.
We got polo shirts coming out, all sorts of different colors. We just got to get on that.
Put the order in.
Yeah, put the order in.
Yeah, so we're on top of it. But, the more you buy, the more
we get to do this.
Yeah. But
we're still on scholarship.
Cool thing, I know. But the cool thing is,
yes,
Chirping Zebras will be in the Caribbean forever on the roof.
Absolutely.
On the ceiling of
now,
Carlitos.
did you go to that bar that's like the windy bar, like the wind goes right through it? It's like an open air bar. It's called.
Well, there's a bunch of those.
Yeah.
Down there.
No, but it's legit like. I don't know. It's like it's like called like the open air bar. I think it's on like the second floor of one of those like little plazas. It's kind of.
I don't know. I mean, I went to a couple of open air bars and it was windy.
Oh yeah.
Went scuba diving.
Nice.
And Aqua Windies is where if you're down there and you want to go scuba diving, they were fantastic. So we want to check them out.
Maybe we should pull the video up of when I went down there and the guy's out there. He's telling me to. Swing off the little boat. What is it, Jolly Pirates?
The Jolly Pirate.
The Jolly Pirate ship. So I'm on the rope, right? And he's like, "Can't do this, chug." So I'm showboating. My girlfriend at the time, now my wife, is with me, so I'm showing off. Jump off, boom, right down. Everybody's laughing. So now I'm embarrassed. I do the climb up. Right now I'm back up on the boat, and the guy goes, he whistles at me. He goes, "Hey," gives me like a little kiss, swings, chugs, and then gives me on the way down. It was unreal.
That's awesome.
And we got it all on tape.
That's awesome. Well,
why does he have better memories of his Aruba stories than you?
And I was shit-faced during mine.
You did it last weekend.
My memories are good.
Right.
Well, you want to hear something funny? I got a little case for my phone to make it waterproof so I could video when I snorkeled. I wanted some, video of the fish. And I have roughly 19 minutes of video, and that was in selfie mode.
We got to see some of that.
My face in a snorkel the whole time, and I think I'm getting all kinds of good stuff.
We got to put that out for B-roll or something.
I got my mug. That was it. My ugly mug in a mask, all messed up with a snorkel. And that's it. That was it.
Anytime a comedian says snorkel, I just think it's Dice Clay. When, hey, honey, I got fudge. Oh, it's so good. What a bit.
Well,
I'll keep it at that.
Speaking of comedians.
Yes, love comedians.
And I should have introduced him first. Cause
Yeah, I was
you already
intentionally
heard
not talking while
Yeah,
you guys.
I know.
No, we do this. It's kind of
Yeah.
it's fun because like the audience doesn't know yet who you
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
Like,
I'm just
this
like-
this happens all the time.
You jumped in. Yeah, no, it was good. I should have told you that's how it works. But no. So fellow comedian, longtime comedian, one of my favorites to work with, one of my favorite people. And also a basketball coach for 12 years.
Yep.
Ran the AAU program, Swarm out
Yep.
of Rhode Island. I knew I was going to mess it up.
Yeah,
Swarm
Central
out of-
Mass, and we had programs in Rhode Island, all over the country, really.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also, you coached Rocky Hill
Yeah,
to a NEPSAC championship 2
that's
years
correct.
ago.
Yes.
So, and they had never made the playoffs before.
We'd never made the playoffs. Made the playoffs all 3 years. NEPSAC championship 2 years ago.
Congrats.
So yeah, got coach of the year. All for little to no money. So totally worth it.
It's all about it. Yeah, it's all about the kids.
It's all about the kids. That's what it should be about.
Yeah.
So,
And you played basketball in college.
played basketball in college. I think my journey was kind of what made me the coach that I am, just because I was always good, but I was great for a little bit, and then a bunch of injuries. Went to 3 different colleges. Just try to keep going, try to fight through everything, and continue on. So I've kind of been anywhere a player could be. So I have a chance to tell them how to get there, and it's whether they listen or not.
Well, that's up to them.
Whether
Yeah, exactly.
Whether
Right.
parents are willing to let them listen or not, but I've had experience at all those different levels, so it's good to.
I really think that might be key to a good coach. Like you said, you were scrapping at one point, you were at the top one point, you were injured, like experiencing it from every different point of view as a player.
Yeah.
Makes you, I think, a really good coach. I mean, I had a similar thing where your first line, your fourth line, and you understand kind of what players think
Yeah.
at all the different spots on the team.
I think early on I realized, certain teammates aren't going to be willing to win, aren't trying to win. And as you know, I'm obsessed with trying to win. So, whatever it took, if I had to play defense, rebound, pass, I was going to do all the little things that all the players weren't willing to do. And that's
I think that's lost in this generation of athletes.
Completely lost.
Like we were just talking about it's fresh in our minds. It happened yesterday. The Rafi Davis trade.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding me? Like, you're making that amount of money and you're not going to be a team guy just because the program doesn't want, like, if they told you to be the bat boy, you be the fucking bat boy, right?
Yeah.
You want to be the bullpen catcher, be the bullpen catcher. Like, you're on the team, whatever it takes to win. Any of those guys on that like whatever years and years ago, they would cut off. Yeah, the 04 team, they would do whatever it took to win.
Yeah.
Right. And this generation of athletes, I don't. It's
there's no way that locker room would have let that 04.
yeah, they're
locker
all
room,
individuals
They never would have
now.
let him
It's
get
like
away
all
with it.
individuals. They're all showing up in their different limousines and different agendas, and it's not about the team anymore.
Yeah, and it's becoming a problem. Mark and I have talked about hockey, but like AAU basketball, any sport right now.
Any sport.
It's,
No, you're right.
Parents they don't want their kids to hear the truth. They don't keep their kids in programs if it's difficult. The most important thing you can do as a parent is just let your kids struggle through something.
Yes, 100%.
Don't make it easier for them. And parents don't have the right mindset going into it. They want the status. They use their kids as kind of like a social media piece, oh, look at how successful my kid is. And you don't know if those kids are playing down 2 divisions or playing against weaker competition. So, social media has kind of ruined what is already an impossible kind of,
I'll tell you, like, there's a lot of that, but there's also a lot of people like myself who's played like yourself. Like, you went through it, you played, and there's a lot of parents now that got their kids in sports that didn't play that particular sport, right? So
Huge
they don't.
problem.
So they don't know. They're just going off of how expensive it is, what they think is supposed to happen, all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
And like for me, like you just said it. Like my daughter's a goalie. She's still developing. She's 8, 9 years old, right?
Yeah.
So last year she didn't make the top team, but she made the second team, right? And she probably benefited from it because she saw a million shots and she learned how to lose and how to win, right? And it was just like, I play good, but I still lost. So it's like, compete, right? And get better. And now she just made that top team, and like, it wasn't like given to her. Like, she worked her ass off to do it, and like what I value is like skills, or just working on your skill set, right? Like, once a week, that's it. You're 9 years old. I'm not asking you to put in hours and hours of effort. It's 50 minutes once a week just to work in your craft, if that's what you're going to do. And then that's going to build a foundation for her later on, right? You work on that one day. Now, when she's like really taking it serious, and she was like she's already telling me, "Hey, Dad, I want to do more skills for the tournament coming
That's
up."
the best.
So like, I'm like, listen, I'm like, yeah, I'm like, don't overdo it. I'm like, she's like, we got that game Friday. I want to go to Skills Thursday, so I'm ready. So I'm like letting her create it herself organically.
At least it's coming from her,
Yeah.
because when we grew up, you guys just grabbed a stick and 2 trash cans and went and played in the street.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, I would go to a court. We had 7 different courts. We'd ride our bike all day long. Saturday, from you wake up, grab a water jug, 4 peanut butter and jellies, throw them in a bag, and then you just go play basketball.
$5 in my pocket, rollerblades down the street hockey courts, and then out to Sully's, and you eat like a king.
Yeah. Not anymore. Yeah.
No.
But that part of it is so important, because these kids are getting shuffled. These kids don't even know if they want to play the sports, right? But the parents feel like they have to, I got to put them in this. But first of all, they're correct about how expensive it is and how disorganized and dysfunctional it is. Like, AU basketball is just a shit show right now. It's just not helping anybody. There's no development. You're not teaching the kids the right thing.
No.
Even now in college, like some of the kids that I've coached that are getting recruited, they're looking at them as projects, saying, well, they don't do this, this, and this, but if we get them in the gym, we can work with them, in the off season, we can get them up to snuff. It's horrible. These kids should be prepared, and they're not prepared,
right.
Because coaches aren't, some of these kids don't even come to practice.
Right.
And they just show up to the games. And then in basketball, the games, they've got 4, 5, 6 games in a weekend, right? So ACL tears, they lose track of which game's important, which game's not.
Funny you say that. I'm on I run Division I men and women's ice hockey for referees in Atlantic Hockey. And
Congratulations.
Oh, yes, thank you. So, but the women the meetings, I love it. But the women's side of things, right? You sit in these meetings and they go, hey, by the time the coaches are saying this at the Division I level, they're like, by the time the athlete gets to us, they're rehabbing injuries that sustained from all the wear and tear they put on their bodies at a very young age. Like, especially like goalies or players, like they're in college. They're 18 to 20-year-old kids already like rehabbing from injuries just because of their overworked, overskated, overperformance. Just because of, like you said, all the media, all the pressure.
And they start way too early.
Well,
right?
I think one problem, and we talked about this with Stephanie Wood, we've talked about it with other guests, kids specialize way too young.
Way too young.
Right?
Yeah.
Like all the experts say.
Be an athlete.
From the injury perspective, but also from the overall athletic development perspective, play everything. There's different muscle groups and different hand-eye coordination in baseball or softball or lacrosse than there is in basketball or hockey or soccer. And if the more you play, the more you develop as an athlete, and the better you let your body recover from whatever sport you've played all that season. That's gone. Everyone plays 12 months of the year. They play on 2, 3 different teams.
Well, you have to keep up with the Joneses.
Well, that's the problem.
That's what they think,
That's the problem.
No,
they think
right?
If my kid plays 12 months of the year in skates or plays basketball 5 times a week, that's going to be a D1 scholarship, and it's actually working against them.
Yeah, the kids don't work as hard. They lose sight of the whole process. It's a job. Right. They're 11 years old and they have a full-time job playing a sport because their parents are shuffling around everywhere. Right. Makes no sense. These kids lose interest in the sport, right? And basketball, we lose kids all the time, 9th and 10th grade. You know,
I was going to ask you, like, you
all
see
the time
that,
they'll
right?
just walk away. They're just like, I don't
Yeah,
want
I'm
to do this
done.
anymore.
Yeah.
Right? And then the parents are like, what do you mean you don't want to do this anymore? You know, like we spent our whole life doing that, and the parents are upset.
Right.
You know, and then the kids will talk to me, and they're like, Coach, I don't think I want to play anymore. I'm like, all right, cool. You want me to talk to your parents? And like, I've had conversations with parents like, listen, she doesn't want to play. Well, you, as a coach, we're paying you money. You shouldn't talk her out of it. I'm like, no, I should. I'm here for the kids.
Yeah, right.
You know, like if she's telling me like her mental health isn't right, you know, she's got problems at home.
What kind of
doesn't like
performance she going to do on the court for you,
She's
right?
not
Like,
going to do it.
Yeah.
You know, she's not going to do it. And there's just way too many issues with youth sports right now. And I don't know how you fix it because, like you guys both know, like youth sports, it's not about the sport. It's about, you know,
big
creating
business now.
character. But that's the problem,
Money
right?
grab.
So they got to get more kids younger so
Right.
they can supplement these teams that everybody wants to go to, right? And so, you know, all of the money that they're charging to keep the organizations, and then people get, you know, oh, I'm not making enough here, so I'm going to go start my other organization, and then you got kids that shouldn't be playing, you know, AAU or travel, whatever, you know, that are playing, and then those kids are just like, whoa, I said I wanted to play basketball. You know, I didn't want to make this a full-time job.
Right.
Right. And so they lose interest and you create all of these different problems because the parents are fighting in the stands. The car ride home are miserable. You know, the parents are looking for something to blame because they've had so many bad experiences in these sports.
time.
Right. I always joke. It's like, you know, they go in a restaurant and they order a cheeseburger and they're pissed off why they didn't get lobster. And then they leave the restaurant complaining about the restaurant. Like,
Right.
you know, like, what are you talking about? Like, you know, like,
Right.
your daughter,
Did you
she's
go out to eat
allergic
with
to
my father?
shellfish. She's never going to eat lobster. You know what I mean? Like, she breaks out in hives. Like, you know, why are you trying to give her lobster? Because all the other kids are getting lobster. Why isn't my daughter getting lobster? And, you know, and
Keep
as a
up with the
coach,
Joneses, man. It's
Yeah.
like, it's freaking, it's stupid.
there
I
are
don't get
so many. It's very rare that you can see a kid, you know, let's say sixth grade in any sport, that you're like, that kid's going to make it. Right. Like there's been a kid in basketball in Rhode Island. There's a kid that's at Villanova right now, Danny Ciceretti. Where the first time I saw her play, she's D1.
Yeah.
It's just the
You
way
just see
she
it.
attacked
Yeah.
things,
Yep.
and you know, I like
Attention to detail,
Yeah,
yeah.
just could see the court. Just make her timing was good. Her skills were good. She had fun. Like, where the fuck is fun in all of this?
So,
these kids
right.
these kids are sad. These kids are crying after losses, and they're getting yelled at on the way back. And then, you know, you see this shit show. Like, you know, you guys, I think hockey refs kind of has to be different, right? You guys got to care about the game, right? Because you're skating, you're really working.
No, as long as the check doesn't bounce, who gives a shit?
Said a lot of guys that work for you.
No, seriously, you're right. No, like we do care. It's like, yeah.
But
You gotta keep the
basketball, they
integrity,
don't,
yeah.
right? Well, like referees are, you know, I was telling Mark, we had a game. I'm not.
This is unbelievable. Where do you hear this?
My final in the Town Cup, I still haven't put the videos out yet. They're coming. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
but we had there's a girl. I won't say the location she's always at. I won't say the tournament provider, right? But there's a girl that refs frequently who is always a horrible ref. All of a sudden breaks her ankle or something, right? So she's wearing a boot while she's reffing, right? So she's got a boot on one foot and she's like barely making it up to half court, right? During the game, right, she picks up her phone. She's on the phone while she's got a slice of pizza in the left hand. So she's got a boot, her cell phone. She's on the cell phone, and she's eating pizza during the game. During the game.
I've seen some stuff, and I haven't seen that.
That's what I said to him.
So then I'm like, well, you want some tennis balls? You want to juggle too? And she's like, what? And like, she's like,
teed
what?
you up.
You know? Yeah, she was about to tee me up because I was like harassing. I'm like, get off your fucking phone. She's like, Coach, don't talk to me like that. Like, get off your fucking phone. It's a game right now. And she's
we
eating,
doing?
like,
She's like, I tee you up, but I drop my pizza.
dropping the pizza. We see that all the time.
That's
You know,
unreal.
I've seen refs fight each other during the game and walk off the court. That happened to us.
Well,
in Taunton.
I've gotten heated with a couple of partners too, just
Yeah.
because like if they don't care, they're just lazy or whatever, or, you know.
But your father and your uncle actually
I mean,
fought.
yeah, they legit
ice
fought
one
on the
time.
ice. Yeah,
Fist fight
Billy
on the
Simp
ice.
had him out like this. It was
Yeah, yeah.
hilarious. Yeah.
But that's, I mean, and we wonder why, one, people don't want to ref, right?
Yeah.
Then you throw the parents into it.
Yeah, and the parents don't
know.
ever they don't get corrected. You know, I used to run a youth league in my city, and we used to throw that too. We used to throw parents out, right? And they'd be like, "Oh, you're going to kick my daughter out of the league?" I'm like, "No, I'm kicking you out of the league. You explain to your daughter what you did, why she can't play." Right? And no, we didn't have any problems.
Right.
After a year, that once they knew they couldn't speak up, that doesn't happen.
Consequences to actions, man. Like, what are we doing?
And that's what sports should be. You should be learning how to be a good teammate, how to work through adversity, to hear the truth, to keep working, right?
Yeah.
And they don't hear any of that stuff. And there's no volunteers anymore. Everything's pay to play, right?
Yep.
And they don't want to piss anybody off because they don't want to lose parents or players or money or income. They just got volunteers who are handling the day-to-day stuff. So there's no way to correct it. And it just gets worse and worse and worse. And now think 10 years from now, right? 10 years from now, when these kids who have only heard shit in the car all the time, now they have kids and now they got to go out into the workforce, right? They're not going to be able to do anything.
No.
Because their parents made everything easier, right? It's mind-boggling.
No one wants their children to feel any uncomfortability, right? They don't want to have any adversity because they think they're helping them by doing that. And what they're doing is they're hindering their development and their ability to function as a human because not everything is easy. And that's why you see, you have 24, 25-year-old kids bringing their parents to an job interview.
Yeah.
I mean, or calling bosses and saying, you yelled at my son. And
Yeah, we get that all the time. We get that. My father yells at people, so
yeah.
And
I always say it goes back to everyone gets a trophy. Once we started giving everyone a trophy for showing up, society started its downfall.
I think you need that in the
and so did
beginning.
sports.
You need that in the beginning of all sports. Not every single kid, but you need to have something for the kids to look forward to. There's got to be, you don't want to make up trophies, but the kids got to have some type of interest.
my daughter threw out her second place trophy, so
that's awesome. but that's because of you. So you're teaching her the right things.
She's like, I don't want it. And I'm like, all right.
My daughter yelled at her team because everyone was all proud of their second place medal, and she stood up and slammed hers to the ground and cussed everyone out.
But we're losing kids in sports, right? Especially on the girls' side, where I've coached, for most of my career. So how do you got to find a way to keep the kids interested? You got
to find a good group of them and keep them together.
Impossible.
It's like you just see it. Like I'm seeing it now. It's like they're U10 and there's girls jumping ship left and right. I'm going to this program, going to that program, going here, going there. It's just like I get it.
They'll go pay more money.
Oh yeah, and
to
travel
be on the
more.
Worst team. Yeah, and travel more. Yeah. I've seen this recently. I got a kid I used to coach. She's good enough to get a D1 scholarship, right? Her parents also probably paid $260,000 for her to get that D1 scholarship, right? Like if she just stayed and worked and just kept going, she was still going to get there. Right. People don't understand that.
Well, gone is, and we've talked about it. I'm assuming it was the same in basketball, but I'd love to get your take on it. When I was growing up, we played for our town.
Yeah.
Right. And you had the A and the B and the C team, and wherever you fell, you fell. But you played for your town. So when we played another town, it was a war. We hated them, they hated us. And now you have all these club programs where kids are coming from everywhere, and there's no real pride. Where's the pride? You're not playing for.
And the worst thing is you'll have a tournament down in North Carolina to play the same team.
Yeah, right.
From your hometown.
Yeah.
Because everybody's.
It makes no sense.
It does not make sense, but yeah, and.
But is that the same in basketball? Like when you were growing up?
Yeah, and having to wait your way through the system. These kids, they think they're supposed to start and play most of the game as freshmen. Right. You have no idea how bad you are compared to the upperclassmen.
Right.
And then the parents are just trashing. Oh, this isn't fair. He's not playing. So they talk like it had to be that way. You had to beat your town rival. You had to know where you stood in that city. Right. I had no idea what real basketball was until I went into the Army, and then I went down to New Jersey. I was captain of my high school team. I was a good player. But I had to wait. I had to work up through the system, didn't play as a freshman, just JV, just got the shit kicked out of me for 2 years, and then finally had my senior year, and we sucked, and all the all-state players, were my position. So I just got the crap kicked out of me every single game. But I was a good player, and then I go into the Army, and then I wound up going to West Point Prep School, and then get on a good team with a great coach, just an unbelievable man, and then who who told me the truth, who put me to work, who had me do uncomfortable things every single day. And I mean every single day. You know, that's the thing that these kids don't understand is the amount of work it takes. If you really want to play D1, D2, you can't just show up on practice on Tuesdays and Thursdays and think it's going to work out. It's got to be your whole fucking life, right? And the parents don't have any clue about that, right? They just want the soft and easy stuff, you know? Or like, oh, she's on this team. Or how about my daughter's playing up. Oh, is she? She playing up? I'll tell you what happened, right? They needed a body.
Yeah,
she's not that fucking good. You know, like.
Well, that, honestly, like that happens in the referee world right now way more than it's ever happened. It's the National Hockey League, even to that extent, right?
Yeah.
Guys are getting put in positions where they're not ready, and they're not going through the steps to get there, even at the National Hockey League level, because there's so much, you know, volume, there's so much, you know, need for it.
Yeah.
And when I was coming up, like, you worked the ropes. Like, breaking into junior hockey was tough because there wasn't a whole lot of teams. Now there's like a gazillion teams across the whole country. Right?
Yeah.
So like you need people to do those games. Like, oh well, I'm like, well, how many games did you do in the middle? They're like, well, 25. I go, well, I did 125 in a season.
Yeah.
All right. I was like, so you're not even fucking close.
Yeah.
Right. So I was like, you know, that like to me that's like, oh yeah, well, I did this. I'm like, well, duh, I get it, but you don't get it.
Yeah.
Right. And
No, it's no different refereeing, and I'm sure it's the same refereeing in basketball, working your way up, than playing. Like, you know, when I was in high school, I shot 1,000 pucks a day in my garage. All my dad did was get me the pucks and put a tarp up so I wouldn't put the pucks through the garage door.
Right.
He didn't, you know, and he didn't say you have to do this. You know, you just did it because I wanted to play college hockey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's what I knew I had to do. And, you know, that's gone. You know, that's gone. That
They're
work
too tired.
ethic.
They're too tired.
You know?
They're on their phones.
dude, every day,
But
like,
I also didn't play hockey 12 months of the year.
Yeah.
Right?
You
played
shouldn't
during the
play any
season,
sport. You shouldn't
right?
play any sport.
And again, like Stephanie Wood had mentioned, it's different now with the training and all this stuff. But, you know, we played baseball, we played football, we played hockey. You put the stuff away and you developed as an athlete, which is gone now too.
like the 3 kids across the street that, you know, the boys in the middle, same age as my daughter. So like at any given time, they're outside playing street hockey, wiffle ball, playing catch, basketball, like trampoline, pool, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
They're just running
Trampoline,
around, being
Olympic sport.
Yeah, just being
For
kids
no
and
reason.
being athletes, and they're competitive, right? Like the boy's a good pitcher, and like he's taught my daughter how to throw because they play catch. It's hilarious. And, you know, it's like so good for their development, and it's just so organic.
Yeah.
And that's what me and my buddies did when we were growing up. When we were 15, 16, 17 years old, like we were training and playing shinny hockey every single day at Quincy Youth Hockey Rink. And we didn't even realize that we were actually, you know, doing it all the right things we're supposed to do, but we would do it with our friends and having fun.
Yeah.
We didn't have our father breathing out our neck like, hey, you got to go to this camp, that camp, and do this and do that. Like, we actually had people down there that coached us up too. Cuzzy was down there. Like all these guys that play pro hockey used to go down and skate. So it wasn't just like a shit skate.
And you were trying your ass off. You're trying to win every single time. If you lost, you got pissed off.
Yeah.
Right. And that makes a difference
yeah.
because these kids play so many games. They don't care if they lose anymore.
Right.
You know, like I remember being so mad. You know, we had a little dead end right behind. There was a gate. And we were playing, you know, flag football, not flag football, but two-hand touch football in the back. And I lost. I was just pissed off. I go in the yard. I'm screaming. My brother's like, what's the matter? I just punched my brother because I was so mad about the game here.
And no one liked to play street hockey with me because they'll take a slash or like a
like, winning mattered.
Yeah, I used to get so pissed. And they'd be like, dude, fucking relax. And I'm like, fuck
you fucking relax.
I'm like, what do you want to punch the... I remember chasing Schumann around one time. He just busted my balls. He's like, you loser.
Well, and the other thing we did too was if you went down the park and you had a ball, you know, you made shit up.
Yeah.
Or you played kill the kid with the ball.
Yeah.
You know, or games that made you a little tougher than, you know, and maybe you didn't want to carry the ball and get fucking bundled.
Yeah.
But you did.
Yeah.
And you were, that's creativity. Where's that? Because we have parents saying this is what you have to do, or we have, you know, practice and we have this, and it's all so regimented, all so scheduled, all so controlled. Where is it that you let kids go to the park and give them a stick and a half ball
the kids
and
hate
let them
it.
figure it out?
The kids hate it. You know, if you talk to the kids, I've coached for so long because I have these amazing kids that have, you know, waded their way through these waters and then survived on the other side. And if you talk to them, you know, they still love basketball. They still love the perspective that I have, that our teammates have. But most of these other kids, they're not allowed to do that. You know, they're not ready to do that.
I mean, the kids can't even go outside and play anymore.
Yeah,
right?
they won't.
They don't even go down the street. Like my daughter, like they're out. Like there's my neighborhood's alive. Kids are out running around, biking, rollerblading, you name it. It's freaking awesome. It's good to see, but it's like, you know, it's still nervous at the same time because they're out. Like
my wife said one time, she's like, we can't just let him go to the playground. What if there's like somebody? I'm like, his name's Larry. He's probably 65 now. He's not gonna bother him like he bothered me. You know, like. So.
Well, I mean, and when you think about it, is there more of that now? Or is there just more awareness?
Just be faster than your friends, I tell her. Just be faster than your friends.
That's what
it's awareness.
When I was walking home from school in 5th grade, there was a guy in the trees, and he had a van. It was the whole cliche. And you know what we were told at school? Make sure you walk with a friend.
Yeah.
We like that was it. You walked home, whether he was in the tree or not.
Did I ever tell you this story on this? I might have told it, but it was right around Halloween, right? And my neighbor was like big like comedian type guy, always like playing pranks and shit, and like he goes all out for fucking Halloween too. So he sees me and my buddy on Broadway walking down. We were going back home from the library. So like he puts his hat down like this, and he's like walking like he's shit faced. And he's like got a bag of candy. And he's like, "Hey, little kid, you want some candy?" And he grabs my buddy, right? Just like grabs him. And I just take off. I'm bombing down the street. I go boom, boom. I'm like two blocks down, right? And now he's chasing me down the thing. I'm like, this guy's chasing me. So I grab some lady coming out of her car, and she's like, I'm like, this guy's chasing me. She's like, and then I just see the Gino. I'm like, holy fuck, that's Mark. And I was like, unbelievable, right? That's my.
Well, and if you did that now, you get arrested.
Yeah, right. Well, he almost got arrested.
You should, but
he almost got arrested.
I hope so.
That's a little.
Oh my god, it was so funny.
Almost got arrested, and he did touch him. So that was the weird part. You missed that part.
Yeah.
Well,
oh, so
that was
funny.
back in the day,
there's definitely more awareness, but there's more creeps out there. You know,
well, there's more people in general.
You just
and
gotta
more
be
people
careful.
are going to mean more creeps.
Yeah.
They're out there, and unfortunately.
Yep.
And, you know, you have to, but again, I think honesty, communication, and awareness to the kids. You know, no one wants to talk about, you know, but you got to tell them if someone says get in a van, don't get in the van.
Yeah.
Right? Like, and I'm not saying
What
it's
about a
easy,
Mercedes?
And depending on the color.
Blue.
Blue, I'm in all day. Get in.
Right,
But do you know what I'm saying?
Not funny. That's not
right?
I was gonna. No, go ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry.
I was gonna say it would be like one of those gold digging horror videos.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I'd get in.
Yeah.
I would.
But anyways, the kids.
Love the kids. So you're a comedian.
Love the kids. Holy shit.
Yeah, they're gonna toe that line. I've told Mark this before. I quit doing stand up. Parents started coming to my shows when I was coaching in a public school before I went prep. Parents would come to my shows, and I was just like, I could get out of here because I really love the coaching. You know, and you know, comedy can drain your soul. You know, it gets monotonous, and the road is a horrible place. And
Oh yeah.
so I wanted to do something meaningful and coach, and but I also wanted to be the same person that I always am with the kids, you know. So I try to tell them the truth all the time. I try to push them. I always responded as a player to hard coaching, so I learned that, you know, in the beginning, when to push, when not to push,
right,
all those different things.
I'm finding that out.
But I try to be funny. You know, try to be honest. But these kids now, they know so much because of social media.
Yeah.
And some of these kids have their phones at like, you know, the parents give them the phones at like 9 years old,
Crazy.
which is crazy. To me.
Well, my 9-year-old has one. Yeah.
Yeah. So like, I will literally with my players, I'm like, what does this mean? Can I say? Am I allowed to? No, don't say that ever. Okay. Like, what about this? And I shouldn't say that.
Oh, see, language I don't care about.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care about language in my house. Like, whatever. Just.
But I mean, like coaching, because if I say something to a player,
right.
You know, like as a basketball player, I was a dirty basketball player. I was very physical, right? I was a goon. Right. And then I just found out recently you can't say goon anymore.
You can't?
Can't say goon?
Goon means masturbating. I just found that out.
What?
Yes, dude.
Wait a
You gotta
minute.
tell
I swear
Dougie
to God.
Smith this.
Yeah,
Holy
he's the
shit,
goon.
He's the goon. He's the masturbator.
I was like,
Get out of here.
Oh my God.
Holy shit.
gooning. It's a verb now.
I'm
gooning.
a massive goon.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
I don't know.
Sorry, Dougie.
Wait. Why are they taking that
I'm
word
talking
away?
to my players, and I'm like, like it may, if they got this big goon, and my girls start laughing, and I'm like, what's so funny? They're like, nothing. They're like, no, why are you laughing? Goon. And like, what about goon? Like, I was a goon. Like, you were a goon? You're like, yeah, I was a goon. Like, And then I'm like, why are you taking that word away from me? You can't take that. That was my identity for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I was
Friggin'
a
awesome.
goon. You can't take that away from me. And they're just like, Coach, you shouldn't say it. I've had a bunch of moments like that where they,
I've never heard that.
Never heard that either.
all these
Yeah.
things come and go too. So
No,
quickly.
I know. They go
Yeah.
back and forth, but you can't take goon.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man.
And
Especially in
goon
hockey.
does not mean
Especially in
that.
hockey. That's
Yeah, that's
Who came up? Who was sitting there and said, "You know what you mean, masturbation? Goon."
Well, you
Like,
The
who
TikTok.
said that?
Well, I mean, look at the
from
the
the
scene in
TikTok.
Slapshot.
Well,
He
that
used to sit in the
TikTok.
penalty box, and he said,
damned if he didn't.
Yeah, right. So maybe there's a lot of truth to this.
I was coaching in Omaha. But no, you can't take that word away. God
Yeah.
damn it.
So
But it's funny,
because of these
yeah.
things, it just makes it tough to coach because
I can see that.
yeah, the kids know everything, and you want to be real, and you want to have them trust you, so if they are going through something, they can talk to you. And then I had parents like, you shouldn't say that to the kids. Why not? Like you don't understand what these kids know. Like,
Right.
and if they don't trust me, then this is never going to work.
Right.
And then parents are looking for something to get you fired anyways,
It's unbelievable,
It's the
ain't
dumbest shit ever. Like, I'm making $4,000 a fucking year. You want to get me fired?
Right.
It's like 1,000 hours. Like, you're going to do me a favor by getting rid of this shitty job? Like,
Isn't that kind of what happened to you?
Yeah, I had
at
the public
Rocky
school.
Hill?
I got fired.
Oh no, I'm sorry, not Rocky Hill, but the public
the public school, yeah.
Yeah.
So, like, one kid turned into two kids, and those kids had influence in the city and started, getting creative with the words, and, he's creating conflict. No, it's competition. We've got 15 players. They can all play. Somebody needs, you try to push them in practice. You try to get over the hump, because we had the potential to win a state championship, right? If I didn't get fired, we would have won at least one, if not two, state championships. The school has never, they made it to the semifinals once in their history,
Well, because they cater to that shit.
They cater that shit, and the administrators, they don't like the uncomfortable feeling. They got parents upset. So like, oh, we're just gonna go another way. You know why? Because you don't mean anything as a coach. It's like, why would you want to coach? You're not getting paid. You got to deal with all this crap, right? There's no money in it. You're just trying to help the kids. You're just trying to pay it forward.
Well, that's why you just said it. The youth sports is struggling because of that.
It's all of this,
yeah.
all of this stuff that we're talking about. I can see, like, sports going away. Like, just get rid of the whole thing, and it's just going to be pay to play. And then you're going to have all these kids that kind of skirt their way through the system because the parents have money. You see it in soccer right now.
Oh, yeah.
Soccer is so
Lacrosse,
expensive
too.
for kids. Yeah, lacrosse too.
And
It's
soccer used to be a very inexpensive sport
Used
for
to be.
kids to play, because all you needed was sneakers and
Like
a
soccer
shin
clubs,
pads.
like huge. Like
Right.
Yeah.
Well, your son is a huge soccer player.
My son played the Revs Academy, and
All right, yeah.
Bayside. He played MLS Next, and he went over. He was in Europe for a while. and
Nice.
So, but we didn't chase that. He just had these opportunities because he worked hard. He was a good team player. He was never the best player. He just worked hard, and he was part of those teams. I both my kids, right? They were going to get good grades. They were going to play sports. And when they played sports, they were going to play the right way, right? I was going to stay out of it. I was going to let them struggle. It was tough for my wife. My wife was not an athlete, so if they were going through something, I'm like, hon, that's fine. This is the best thing for them. If my son or my daughter were the best player on the team, I would move them up to a higher team. I wouldn't move them down to make it easier. I would want them to have to struggle so that they learn all this stuff. So my son going through that soccer system, which I think soccer is a little bit more structured than other sports. Like basketball, you got all these programs with the national championships, and none of it is real. Like it's meaningless. Soccer at least has some structure, but it's a ton of money. It's a ton of time. Like, we went to Colorado 4 years in a row. because that's where the national championships were,
Right.
legitimately, you know. But still, it's like he's 10, 11, 12, 13. We're going, it makes no sense,
Right.
So it's a problem. And I don't know how you fix it, because there are companies now, right? It's not like a mom and pop organization. There are these big companies just making money hand over fist.
Like I'm going to Utah next couple of weeks for a tournament. It's called like the Roses tournament, and they're all over the country. They had like one in Boston, and they get the one in Utah at that age level, right? And it's like you have to like be a part of like the tournament process, and you have to be on one of those teams that get to go and play in this thing. And they're supposed to be like the best kids around, but it's not. It's just good players in that, but it's you get sucked into these things, and now it's like it's all these big companies running all these tournaments, and like CCM runs big tournaments across the whole friggin' country, and it's great for me because I got a piece of it in a lot of the places, because they come to us because we service like the most amount of referees. We can handle those big tournaments, but they're just making money hand over fist, week in, week out, running these big events.
Even the school level, trying to rent a gym, if it was a town team, they would give you the gym for free.
Right.
Now they're just like, oh, we can supplement part of our budget. This could be, extra income.
Right.
Right. So, to rent a school gym, $100 an hour. Well, who's paying $100 an hour? Right. The parents. Right. So I got 9 kids on a team. I'm splitting that up. That adds up. Right. Yeah. And so then no shit, you're pissed off as a parent, because too much time, right? Not enough development. There's no rhyme or reason to what's going to happen next. You're just guessing, and it's because of all these different factors. It's just the money's ruining it, and the mindset of all these different types of parents. Like, your kid is supposed to struggle. Your kid is supposed to hear the truth. It is okay if your kid is not the best player. How about don't post everything on Facebook? How about just, I got caught up in that a little bit in the beginning.
I do it. Yeah.
But it doesn't help them, because now you're trying to tell strangers, like variations of what really happening. Because your kid, if they drop off at a certain point, you've got to continue that narrative. And then at the end of that, when your kid doesn't love the sport anymore, right, they've got to blame somebody, right? They're not going to take credit for it. They're not going to say, you know what, I fucked up. My kid wasn't as good as I thought they were.
Right.
They're just like, wow, this organization and that ref and that coach. The things people have said to me as a coach, and I got to bite my tongue, because I like my job for, I don't know why. It's just, it's really, it's nauseating.
Like I'm a realist. Like, I understand the whole thing. Like, I'll never ever like go up to a coach or anything like that and be like, what the freak? But I'm usually the one coaching anyway, because no one else wants to fucking do it. But
yeah. That's another thing too. Nobody's going to step up who has experience. There's not as many people with experience that are willing to do
Like,
this.
I'll tell you, the towns everywhere have no fucking clue how to run shit. Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like you sit in a room and you go, well, what's your highest level of hockey experience? Right? And they're like, did anybody in the room play college hockey? And like, no, nobody fucking played college hockey. And you're going to tell
NHL
like
93 on Sega Genesis.
Like you want to I don't know. I worked 9 years of pro hockey. Like, I've seen shit. Like I know what good hockey is and what isn't. Right. Like,
we have somebody in Rhode Island, right? And anybody in Rhode Island, we have a woman that if she's not the best player in Rhode Island history, she's the second best. She's in that discussion, right? She played at Stanford, right? She coaches for the USA Basketball, the 3v3 program. She coaches at the top prep school in our state, right? And I hear parents complain about her as a coach. And I'm like, are you out of your fucking mind? Like, do you understand what you're saying? Like, oh, she doesn't know what she's doing. She puts this kid in when this kid should be in. None of these parents at practice, they don't see the effort. They don't see what they're trying to work on. They don't see any of the stuff. Like, and if it's hard for your kid, right, that's what you're paying for, right? Like, you should be wanting the struggle.
Who's the QB that said, well, people tell Tom Brady he sucks? Who said that? But that's the same thing, right? It's like, like they're going to tell the greatest one that, you're always going to hear you suck, you're horrible, you're never good. No matter what you do in any professional athlete, like, or any sport for that matter, right? Like I feel like that's always the case. Even like the best referees, people like, shit on them. Like, oh, that guy sucks. Like Chris Rooney's one of the best referees. And I guarantee you there's 1,000 people that say he's horrible.
If it's a dad telling you suck, you're going to blow it off.
Right.
If it's Ray Bork telling you suck, you're going to be like, oh, shit, do I suck?
He might have. I ref his kids.
Yeah. You know what I mean, though? Like,
I know his kids definitely said it. No. Actually, I know Chris really well.
Yeah.
The older one, yeah.
Yeah, but it's just bizarre. These people have no idea what it takes, what the kids have to go through. Like when I got fired from that public school, like they were pissed off because we got to a certain point. We made the semifinals second time in school history, right? We needed to get to the next level, right? Sports, the reason it's important because there's always something to work on next. And it makes it really difficult. Right. So the kids think as a coach you're never satisfied. No, we've got more stuff to do. You get to here, you got to go to here. You get to here, you got to go here, and it never ends. Right? There is no, hey, we're finished. You made it to the end of Zelda.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like you have to keep working. Right? And the
Zelda
parents
2's coming.
Yeah, exactly.
You're gonna beat it again.
Yeah. Well, you bring up Brady.
Yeah.
And Brady didn't win a Super Bowl and go, I'm good.
Yeah.
Right? He wanted to win 10 more.
Yeah, he wanted to win the next one.
6 more. He
Yeah,
won
right.
7. Yeah. And he still wanted to win more.
And people tell Belichick he sucks. Right? Yeah. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Like that guy doesn't know a thing or two?
Well, that's sports radio, right? We've talked about that before, where that's what generates.
Sports radio, I've said this to some of my friends, sports radio is a problem with youth sports because people get used to talking about sports in this negative way. It's all complaint-based, right?
Yeah.
So now they do that about kids, right? How many times do you hear a parent on the sideline talking about somebody else's kid? Right?
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm pretty composed on the sidelines most of the time. There was a time during a game I turned around and I go, hey, shut the fuck up. Right? And he's like, what? I was like, shut the fuck up. And he's like, fuck you, dude. He's like, you're not even coaching my daughter. I'm like, you're talking about somebody else's kid. Shut the fuck up. I'm like, you shouldn't say that.
Right.
Right. And then parents started clapping.
Yeah, right.
Like, what are we doing? Like, you just like this kid's 14.
Dude, my buddy's daughter, she's a year younger than my daughter, but she's filthy. Like she's better than the girls at my daughter's age. Like she's like
Is
the best
filthy
one.
okay to say?
I think so.
Just checking.
Yeah.
I don't want to.
She's nasty.
Oh,
she's really good. She's a really good. Hang on, she's a really good hockey player.
Yeah. Well, for those who don't know, filthy is good.
Yeah.
Filthy means
nasty.
they're really good at something. It doesn't mean anything else. Like goon is someone that plays physical. It doesn't mean.
Used to be.
But he hears people like he'll be sitting in the stands watching and be like, "Oh, she's not that good. I thought what's all the hype about this girl?" Like all that kind of shit. And I'm like, she's skating circles around your daughter. Like you know what I mean? And it's just like people always just have to. It is a bar, right? There's always a bar, and you always want to compare yourself to the best if you're going to be an athlete, right? I did as like, I want to be there at the top. I want to beat them. That's where I want to be. So it's like it's only natural, but like don't talk shit. You know what I mean?
About
like what are you doing?
Kid.
Like
that's insane.
And then the parents are just sitting there like, I swear to God, if Mr. Johnson says one more thing about you, and the car right home. So now the kid's like, what did
Mr. Johnson say?
What did he say? I don't want to tell you what he said because it was horrible. Now the kid's like, what do you mean? I don't even get to hear what Mr. Johnson said. The kids hear it, right? The kids.
So like my daughter's a goalie, and I hate when like parents say this about like other goalies or like other things. Oh well, we really didn't have a good goalie. Like, our goalie was. I'm like, well, you guys didn't score any fucking goals. Like how many goals did you score?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the goalie turned them all over, right?
Yeah.
The goalie.
The thing I've always loved about both of my kids is just how composed they've been on the court, and I think that's because my wife and I have handled them a certain way when we raised them. My son is a center back and likes that pressure. You make one mistake, it's a goal.
Yeah.
You get beat, you're right on the goalie to make one. And I've seen him make those mistakes, and I've seen him like a showcase down in Florida. There was a guy my size. I'm 6'5", 280. For those of you at home,
if you're guessing,
yeah, if you're guessing, like that fat bastard. I wonder how big he is. 6'5", 280.
And if you said "shut the fuck up" to me, my answer would not be "fuck you."
Yeah.
Even if I didn't know
a little
you
bit
were.
of a temper problem, but it doesn't come out when I'm coaching. For whatever reason, when I'm coaching, I'm calm for the most part. But
except for when you have that referee.
Yeah, the one referee.
Pizza girl.
This kid was phenomenal. Right. And then, my son got, shouldered and he went flying off the kid. Easy touch, scored. It was a 1-0 game. That was the only goal. It was definitely on him. And you could see him pick himself up and then
body
go
language, yeah.
and then take it, and he changed his composure and he handled it the right way. His coach was like screaming at him the whole time. And I'm like, dude, I'm so proud of you. And he's like, what? And I'm like, dude, the way you handle that, I'm so proud of you, He's like, yeah, thanks, Dad. And he's like, yeah, that was a tough one. And I was like, yeah. And then he's like, that fucking kid was huge. I was like, yeah, man. But to have that mind, that's what we need to teach these kids. They have to be able to overcome those moments because there is more failure in sports than there is success.
There was this one girl that played in this tournament. She came down, it was like the semifinal game or whatever, and it was actually the last game of the round robin, but we ended up playing the team in the final. But like she came down, did the same move, sniped 3 times on her, high glove, right? So we're up a goal. There's like a minute left. We hit the timeout. She comes over, and I'm like, listen, she's going to come down, and she's going to go high glove on you. I go get to the top of the crease and just throw your body in front of the fucking thing. So she does it, right? She makes the save. We win the game, right? But in the final, I was like, I prepared her for it. So like the first shot comes down. She gets ready for the high glove. It deflects off the defenseman. It goes on the blocker side. So she's looking at me. I'm like, God. I'm like, it's sports. It's bounces. But it's just like, that's the preparation and the failure and the ups and downs to go through, right? It's just like, like you compare all you want, but it's just, it's a bounce. It's
and if you haven't played sports, you don't understand how important that is to be able to just get up and go to work every day. Right. To learn like, shit, I'm fucking depressed. I'm down. I'm still going to take care of whatever I need to take care of because you've had to just keep going, because you're on a team. And if you stop, the whole team suffers. Right. And people don't get taught that anymore. It drives me crazy.
Well, and the whole team aspect.
Yeah.
Right. And you mentioned Devers, right? Like that team concept is lost as well.
Yeah.
Because everyone's in it. How many goals did you score? Well, that's what it's all about. It's about what your kid did or what that one kid did, not how it affected the team. And that's gone too. I think, not completely gone. And with certain coaches, it's not gone.
Yeah.
But overall, it's what's in it for me.
Well,
that's the attitude.
And that's the attitude too. But these owners are also muddy grumbling pigs too, right? It's you're really not in the athlete's shoe either, right? Like you really don't know what's going on behind the scenes and all that kind of shit. But I think it is a two-way battle, but because they're making a ton of money off you, and all
they
you
just
like
need transactions. I've been there in the administrative side, and I've been told we just need to get transactions.
Right.
So it doesn't matter if the kid's good or not. You're giving a spot to a kid that doesn't belong on that team.
Your check cleared.
Right.
It's exactly what it is.
And it's not. And it's why would that athlete give his heart and soul for that? Look at the what is it, the White Sox team that threw the World Series way back when, right?
1920, the Black Sox.
The Black Sox, right?
Shoeless Joe.
Shoeless Joe.
Wasn't involved. Didn't take the money.
Yeah, I know. But
hit force 80 in the World Series, something like that.
See your great grandfather? What are you?
No, I just watched the movie.
That's a great movie. Yeah, we watched it. Yeah.
Why are you mad?
I don't know. I just got passionate.
1920 wasn't involved.
It's a great uni they had.
It is an awesome movie too. Yeah.
I have that shirt, this White Sox shirt.
Anyway. Right. So they play games not giving people bonuses and all that kind of stuff. So it's all right. So why would I want to play for you? Or why would I want to give my heart and soul to the win? So there's a lot of that business aspect we talked about. It's all big business. It's all about money too. So the sport is kind of gets lost in that, in it sometimes, which sucks.
Now, speaking of money, what's your take on the whole college basketball, kids getting paid?
Hate
it. Negotiating and going to schools where they're paying them more.
Hate it. You can see all the coaches that are complaining about it. The real shady ones love it. If they got the right boosters, but it's ruining basketball.
It's ruining college sports.
But that's coming from the sneaker deals way back in the day when AU first got big. Now you've got the top players. They go and they play for free for organizations.
Right.
And so everybody else is supplementing those players, and then they don't play defense. On the basketball side, the basketball is horrible now. You could just see all the old timers complaining about the Celtics now. Like all they do is chuck up threes. Well, that's the
Yeah.
way it's going. It's 5-out basketball. It's individual skills, right? So the other things aren't being taught. And if you force a kid to go play defense, or to become a team player, they just leave and they go somewhere else because they played for free. Right. So there's no loyalty to that organization. They don't have to work hard here. They can just go somewhere else. And then that goes to college, right? And any adversity at all, they're just going to move to another school.
Right.
They go in the portal.
Yeah, they go in the portal, and it's wrong, and then, there's a kid in New England on the girls' side who she's going to be a senior. She's going to be at her 5th high school in 5 years, and she's played.
How do colleges look at that and say, isn't that a problem?
They don't look because she's talented and they can't get enough kids. Because I've talked to NEPSAC is great. The involvement that you have with college coaches, they don't care. They need talent because there's not enough girls. So to get kids to play at the Division I level, you got to take some chances somewhere. So maybe
right?
you're the coach and you're the program thing that can get her turned around and it's going to work out. But it never works out. Because then these kids are used to playing, getting everything they want.
Right.
And they have to play 5 minutes as a freshman, which, I would have killed to play 5 minutes as a freshman in college.
Yep.
And then they're like, oh, this is ridiculous. I'm going to go somewhere else. Plus, they're giving me more money. So it just makes everything worse.
Like, I had that decision to make. Like, I could have went and, been, the 8th defenseman on, a D1 team and never played, maybe make the team or be, an alternate or whatever. Or do you go to D3, play every day, and have fun?
I tell my kids
that's
all the
exactly
time,
what I did.
If I tell a kid you should go play D3, right? It's so you're going to start as a freshman. You're going to play a ton of minutes as a freshman, right? Oh, yeah, I was thinking about D1. You're not ready for D1. You're 5'3" or whatever. There's all these factors that come in. Why don't you go play? Focus on your education first. And for my kids, if they want to play in college, what do you want to study? Right? That's first and foremost. That's the most important thing. Then we'll find the schools in the region of the country that you want to go, and then we'll start talking to coaches. We'll get them to come watch you. But if you say that to her, did you tell my daughter she's a D3 player? Yeah. Yeah. I finished in D3. I started D1, finished D3. There's nothing wrong with D3. It's still good basketball. You're just smaller and slower usually. Right. But you get a good program, it's still good basketball. But people are offended. You know why they're offended? Because
all the money
they've been
and
pumped up
time.
and all this time that they spend in, and they think they got to get the scholarship, right? The kid gets lost. Imagine having a kid and then just being more concerned about what other people think about your kid than what you're actually doing.
Dude, find your level. Find your level and succeed, right?
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to go to D1. Everybody wants to go to the pros. Everybody wants to go here, right?
D1's freaking tough.
Right?
D3 is tough.
D3
I was just
even-
going to say, people don't realize to
find
play
your level.
any sport at a D3 level is not easy.
No.
Especially now. It's
Hockey, you have to be. Hockey, you got to be 20, 21 to go in now to play. Yeah,
right.
It's stupid.
I'd love to have
That's
these
another thing too.
people.
Now JUCO,
I went right to. I was turned 18 my freshman year, in college.
Yeah.
I
I did
didn't
a
go play
post-grad, so I was
juniors
a
and
year,
2
yeah.
years and 3. Our buddy Pat Shea in Full Ride, the show that we're in on YouTube.
Go binge it.
He's a 23-year-old.
like and subscribe.
He's a 23-year-old. Smash. Like and subscribe. He's a 23-year-old freshman. It's a whole joke about it, right? And that's what's happened. But, it's the other thing with this whole getting paid to play in college. All right, you want to get paid to play, then you're paying fucking tuition. Why are you getting a free education and getting paid?
It's not going to happen.
No, I know it's not going to happen. None of this is going to happen.
This week,
because
what about those kids that, academically are super strong but don't have the money?
Yeah.
So they're scraping and paying and bringing out loans and all this stuff. And here's this kid that is getting paid $2 million to go there and a free education.
Yeah.
No, you can't have both.
They don't care.
No, I know they don't care. And the fucking colleges have so much money that they don't care. They don't have to care. And the boosters and, I don't want to get political, but when the government decided to back all the school loans, that's when tuition went fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Because the
they
schools
knew
know the loans are guaranteed.
Push it off, yeah.
So they can charge whatever they want because they know the kid's going to get the loan because the government's backing it.
Yeah.
And so now that's why you have colleges costing $90,000, $95,000 a year.
Yeah.
And you got kids graduating as doctors that aren't going to pay off their fucking loans until they're 50.
Yeah.
Right? How is that
Yeah.
How does that make any sense whatsoever?
Yeah, and that's I've said this to the parents of the kids that I coach. I treat all these kids the same way as both of my kids. Both of my kids, my daughter has no debt, right? 3.95 in college, played basketball, just working hard, just all the right. They were both captains. My son's going through that stuff. He's partying a little bit too much for me right now, but he's a great kid, and he's going to graduate from college, and he's going to be all set. They lose sight of that, how much you're setting your kid back, if they have to pay all this money. So you're gonna chase this thing that they're not going to get, and then you're going to get stuck here, right? And then you're going to have to pay full price for here, right? And then you're going to be pissed off about here. Because it's D3 and it's not what you think you deserve. And this is the coach's fault, the organization's fault. Meanwhile, if you just set the goals correctly in the beginning, everything would have worked out fine and your kid would have been much better. It's bizarre, man. It's bizarre.
I remember what my mother said to me on one of the recruiting trips going to a bunch of D3 schools because, I had already made that decision. A couple D1 guys, they all said the same thing. They were honest. They were like, hey, go play D3. That's probably your best bet. But
yeah.
Which I really appreciated, right? And my mother was like, I can't believe all the time and all the effort and all this, and here we are. And I'm like, well, I'm playing college hockey, D3. It's pretty fucking good. Not everybody gets to play college hockey.
Right.
So it's like, at the time, you're like, yeah, your dreams and all, you're whatever. I was like a 5'8" defenseman, right? Not going too far. So, I had a great D3 college career, made the best friends of my life. Where the group of the guys I play college hockey with, there's over 20 of us getting together the first week in August to go play golf. We just whoop it up in Newport, Rhode Island, one of the best places to go in the summertime, right? Yeah. It's like we all still talk and get along 20 years later, and it's it's the best thing ever. So things happen for a reason.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
Nothing at all.
Yeah.
Nothing. Now, transitioning to maybe a lighter discussion.
Oh, lighter.
Yeah.
It's been awesome because we're saying the things that no one else wants to say, or they don't have a platform to say it, or you don't want to offend parents because they, it's
I do now.
Wake the
no,
fuck up.
No, my wife just we were just at a wedding this weekend.
That's why I got back into comedy. I'm going to start talking about parents.
Well, we were just at a wedding this weekend with and we ran into a bunch of guys I ref with through the years, right? Now they all have kids in sports. And my wife said the same thing. It's the same theme. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you sports? It's like we all just kind of left. And it's like, what the hell happened for 20 years? What the hell are you guys doing? Yeah. It's figure it out.
And unfortunately, this started, this isn't brand new. When I was coaching my daughter, I think it was a squirt team. I had a parent approach me about why I don't play her kid in the last 3 minutes of a close game. And I said, well, like I said in the beginning at the meeting, I'm going to give the last 2 minutes. Everyone plays the same amount until the last 2 minutes. I think it was 2 minutes, not 3 minutes. 2 minutes. And then if the game's close, I'm going to play the 5 kids or 6 or 7 kids that give us the best opportunity to succeed. And those 5 or 6, 7 kids may change based on how they played that game, how they practiced that week, and what they do off the ice. And, well, you're telling my kid he's no good. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I said, how many pucks did your kid shoot in the driveway this past week? Well, none. Oh, okay. Was he at practice both nights this week? No, he missed one.
Yeah.
Okay, so the 6 kids that played all shot pucks, all were at practice, and all busted their ass in this game. Oh, and by the way, your kid told me to fuck off when I told him he made a mistake out there. Just throwing that out there. No lie. And she was still pissed at me and said it was my fault that her kid doesn't think he's good. And I was like, what?
Well, you benched him, coach.
Yeah, I did my high school team. So I had one of the players, told me to fuck off. I was like, you're supposed to cut. She's like, I know. I'm like, then do it. And she's like, fuck off. Right? I was like, all right. So didn't play her the rest of the season. I said, I'm not allowing that at all. No. I'm never going to get spoken to that way. And you can quit now, you can stay on the team and support your teammates, or you can go home and say, I don't want to come back tomorrow, but you're not going to play. And I think she thought I was bluffing. Well, I was not bluffing. So, yeah, it's crazy. But that's not the lighter note you were talking about.
No, of course not. I want to talk about you getting back into comedy.
Yeah.
Because, seriously. Well, the first time I met you, we joke about it because you busted my balls, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Yeah.
Busted my balls the second we were in the fucking thing.
So true. But
I have a problem.
No,
with that.
I appreciate it. That's the
I
problem.
like making fun of strangers.
That's all right. I appreciate
the
it.
day you stop fucking with me is the
you know
day I know
something's
you
wrong.
don't like me anymore.
It's like a rite of passage. If you get fucked with it, you're like, all right.
Yeah, plus
you're in.
I know you guys are athletes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can break balls.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I was a trash talker as a player.
Oh, me too, yeah.
You know, so like,
Shocking.
Yeah. Yeah, that's actually how I got started when I was at Rhode Island College. My teammates were like, "You should do stand up. You should stand up." That was part of why I got started. You know, because I would just make fun of it. I remember one game as a kid about to shoot free throws. He had long hair, and I just turned. I go, "Hey, your mom called. She wants her son back." Right, and it's just like right at the end of the game, missed both free throws, elbows me in the back of the head as we're going down the court. Just like just kind of like hockey is. I would have been a great. In hockey,
you would have been good.
Yeah.
You would have been. You
I
would
was
have probably
ruthless.
been with your size. You would have probably been a goon.
Yeah,
Old school.
I would have been a goon everywhere, man.
Old school goon.
yeah.
Not new school. We got to learn all that stuff.
Yeah. I'll send you a list of the words we're not supposed to say.
You know the 7, don't you?
It's 47 now. Yeah.
It's 47, but you love saying that.
Yeah. Fuck it.
You say it every time.
I know. Shit, piss, fuck, cunt, cocksucker, motherfucker, and tits. Tits doesn't even belong in the list.
Doesn't even.
Like a snack.
It never gets old for me.
No.
It'll never will get old for me.
Yeah.
We used to listen to George Collins double CDs, and my father used to always put like Dice Clay or something in the car on the road trips and shit, and just laugh our ass off.
Yeah. That was the day. Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Delirious.
Delirious and Raw. Yeah,
and
awesome.
Just watching him, and then when Dice came out, it was just like you just couldn't believe it. I had to listen over and over and over, and then you'd stay up late, to watch at the Improv and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Watched it all the time.
Rodney Dangerfield's show on Showtime.
Yeah.
I've seen Dice live twice in Vegas.
Yeah,
he's awesome.
Yeah. So
But nowadays,
one of a kind show.
Yeah.
hopefully the pendulum's swinging back. I feel it is.
I hope so. People gonna understand, and I think it's how you sell it. Like you can say something offensive. They've got to trust that you don't really mean what you just said. That you're doing it just for the joke.
Well, there's a craft in saying shit.
Yeah.
And having it come across the right way.
It's like Bill Burr's bit.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. But I still think
Frickin' guy.
I still think being offended is a choice. I say it at the beginning of my shows.
Yeah.
It's a choice you can make. You can choose not to be offended or to be offended.
Yeah.
It's not, words cannot hurt you unless you let them. And I know a lot of people argue me on this. Words are sound waves that hit 3 fucking bones in your ear that I can't name, and you give them meaning. And if you choose not to give them meaning, then they don't fucking do anything.
You're at a comedy show. Like,
Yeah.
what the
That's the
fuck?
other
Like,
thing.
what are you expecting?
I
Like, are
always
you
say-
expecting I don't know what you're
Neil deGrasse
expecting.
Tyson.
Well, I always say if you don't go to a horror film and get pissed off, you got scared,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
that's
you do always say that.
That's the logic.
Everybody knows that about you. You say that all the time.
Yeah.
This guy and his harsh.
I don't think I've ever said it here.
I grew
Probably
up
have.
on all those guys, and so when I started doing stand up, I was always looking for, the biggest laugh. So I'd always try to find that line and back off the line slightly, and that has caused some problems over the years. And that was part of the reason why, when I when parents were starting to come see me as a coach, where I was like, you know what, I'm just going to drop out of this because, I know who I am as a comic. I know the jokes that I'm saying, and I also know that those aren't appropriate, for high school kids.
Right.
And I took down all my material. I was deleting stuff, and but you lose part of your soul taking that away. And that's what I was telling him when I was coming back. I wanted to be able to talk to strangers again. You want to make strangers laugh. There's nothing like being on stage, having an idea, knowing it's going to upset some people, but even though they're upset, you're going to make them laugh.
Right.
You're going to swing them. You're going to turn them. So.
And so for people who don't know, you weren't some guy that was like, a hack or a strong middle act. You were fucking like, you were pretty big.
I was huge here in New England. You know,
I
for
mean,
a
Rhode
little while.
Island, you basically put the Comedy Connection on the map.
Yeah,
I mean, honestly.
I was there a lot.
And so it's not like you walked away because you weren't getting gigs or, you know. Like,
and Rhode Island's on the level.
Well, yeah.
No, but
Don't ask
I was,
Tony V about Rhode Island.
Yeah.
Not a fan.
No, he's not a fan.
But
Buddy C and C.
I'm just giving context for
my boy.
people who don't know because so many people now, oh, my buddy's a comedian. Oh, what's his name? Never fucking heard of him.
Yeah.
You know, like, or, oh, I quit comedy. You know, well, you quit open mics. Let's be honest. That wasn't you.
See, my problem was I never had a plan with comedy. I knew it was funny. I knew I could get in front of any crowd, and make them laugh. I knew I crushed. And I just wanted to work. There was a time before I got sick of it that I loved the hustle. So I created my own company. I was doing colleges all over the country. And then if I had like a 2 and 3 or a 3 and 5, or if I had these colleges, I would try to call up the club and I'd say, hey, I'll come host, I'll come feature, I'll even do it for free just so you get to see me so I can get return work. Then I started opening up for national acts. And then I didn't quite make it, but I wasn't quite trying. They were trying to get me commercials and try to, get their money that way. And again, I'm 6'5", I'm 280. I auditioned for that Verizon guy, the Can You Hear Me Now guy. I didn't get it because I was, too big. I remember going to an audition. There's like, well, we love you. You just don't look like a dad. I'm like, all right, thanks. I have 2 kids at home. It's like all these weird things that had to come along with comedy. And that wasn't my focus. I just wanted to be on stage, and I wanted somebody to leave that place and go, that guy was fucking hysterical. I was always just trying to kill. So, finding those jokes is hard. You got to get those right stories. You got to be able to, stare the right way and have people believe in you. And even if they're offended, especially politics now, I try to talk about, different things. Trans is a big thing. So I'm like, what kind of crowd we got here? Like, we upset about trans people, and people, you can just see people get tense up.
Tense up big time, man.
Yeah.
Asses just
kind of close up. And I was like, I got a high school friend. He was gay in high school. He's trans woman now. I saw him. And I just caught up, and it was great to see him, It wasn't trying to sleep with me in high school. He's not trying to sleep with me now, and he's married, and he introduced me to his husband, and his husband, or her husband, was trans now.
Yep.
And I'm like, so she is now a he, and you are now a she? And he's like, she is like, yes. And I was like, well, it's a shame you didn't make 5 years ago. You would have saved a ton of copings, Like,
That's a funny joke.
like, so stuff like that.
Right.
So people are tense about the trans stuff because everybody wants to get upset about everything. So you're just trying to find an angle where, people know it's a joke, even if they're tense there.
Well, I loved on our last episode, and it actually some great comments on when we talked about the Karen Reed trial.
Oh, yeah.
All right, and we have a reel out there that I think it's up to 40 comments or something on the TikTok, and the comments are hilarious. Some of them, they clearly didn't pay attention to what I flat out said. She's innocent, and people are like, "What are you talking about? There's so much, this and that," acting like we said she was guilty. Anyway, I loved your take.
I'm proud of myself because I haven't paid attention to that at all. Like
My wife did, so I had no choice.
I could care less about that whole thing.
Yeah.
But people try to, get you to buy in, to watch it.
What side you sit on, yeah.
And I was like, all of that, everything that people tell me makes sense. Like, so a woman got drunk and backed up over her boyfriend and killed him. Okay. I believe that.
Yeah, I can believe that. Yeah.
Or a group of cops, beat up a coworker and covered it up. Okay, I believe that.
And framed his girlfriend.
and framed the girl. You know what I mean?
I believe that.
Yeah, I believe that. Like that checks out. You know what I mean? To me, the whole thing is because she's hot, right? That's why this is such a big story. If Karen Reed looked like Lou Reed, she'd be in jail already.
Right.
Right. Like,
Good point.
am I wrong?
It's so fucking true.
Especially in the beginning, like
It's so true.
There the text messages in the beginning with the one trooper. I don't know.
Oh,
Yeah, I was just going to repeat some of them, but I'm just going to protect the innocents and let them go hear it for themselves.
Innocent. So you think she's innocent?
No, protect the innocents by not saying that shit.
Yeah.
If she looked like Lou
I don't know.
Reed.
I mean, who knows? But
I've never. That's the first time I've heard that, and that's fucking funny. Holy shit.
Yeah.
no,
It's
that's
just
a
so
good
whacked.
theory. Yeah, I could believe both sides.
Well, isn't that like I mean, you bring that up. All right, the hot factor. It applies in a lot of places.
Yeah.
Not just this particular court case, but think about hot privilege, right? I mean, it's a thing,
Yeah.
right?
You have a podcast.
I have a podcast. I don't know what you mean by that.
We'll get the joke later.
No, I know you're busting my balls. I just don't know which way.
Checked into the boards a couple of times too hard.
Oh, yeah, but that's true.
Yeah.
I don't. All right.
Hot factor.
Yeah.
It was.
No, I'm fine.
There's
I'm
a lot
not-
of truth to that.
Yeah.
I'm
That's
not.
funny. Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. Pretty people have it easier. Not gonna dance around.
Can confirm.
That
No,
doesn't.
fucking wrong.
That was why the joke.
I know.
Yeah,
I
right.
know. That's why
I've
fucking
always
said
paid a
that.
cover.
Where's Gino? Oh, he's sitting outside. They didn't let him in.
He's in the line.
Oh yeah.
Hey, for you it's $20. Whoa, where you going?
He's
Somebody let
against.
him know we're in the private booth. If he gets in here at some point today, we're in the
He's
private.
against the velvet rope on the wrong side.
They thought he was the janitor. Yeah.
But you're back in comedy now. Which
Back
is
in
awesome.
comedy.
And I don't know. I want people to come see you because
Yeah.
you're fucking hilarious.
Thank
But
you.
there's certain things that some of your bit, like I will say, did you finger my muffin? Just because that's your bit. And fucking, I say, and I just I'll say it out loud when I'm home alone, and I just start laughing. Because that's kind
that's
of
a huge
like
compliment.
no,
Thank
some
you.
of your like I'm telling you.
I think it's better if we don't explain the joke.
No,
We just
no,
leave it
no.
there.
I want people to
We
come
just
and
got-
see
Yeah,
the
come
joke.
and see, yes.
Just know that.
Yeah.
Did you finger my muffin as part of it? And I'll say it out loud and just laugh. Seriously, there's some of your punchlines that I'll just say, and I do this with a lot of my friends. Tony V.
Yeah.
Like
Tony
you
V's
know,
hilarious.
Jimmy Dunn. You have lines that you just say and laugh.
Yeah.
Because they're that fucking funny.
That's what you're looking to do. Yeah, you're looking to have
know?
that type of. People never remember comics. Being a comedian is like, oh, we saw this guy. He's like, he's a hockey something. What was his name? I don't know. He's got a podcast. Oh, what was the podcast? I don't know.
Right.
That's what people
true.
say all the time. It's like it's so demoralizing. You pick these people up, you make them laugh, they go home and they have sex, and you're just driving home alone. It's just. It's just weird. It's just a weird job,
So fuking true.
You're just like, I made all those people happy, and now I'm sad.
He's hitting the strip club on the way
It's
home.
true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, not a long time, man. Not a long time.
But it is true that no one that's why like if I'm doing a benefit or something, I always say put a picture on the flyer because people don't remember names.
Yeah.
They'll remember a face or they'll remember a bit.
Yeah.
And they'll say, "Oh, that's the finger the muffin guy." Like they're not going to say that's PJ THIBODEAU. It's just a way. It's just a way.
Finger the muffin guy.
I can't say that enough.
Finger the
But
muffin
that's what
guy.
they do. That's what they do.
Put that on my
They
tombstone
finger
for
muffins.
me.
One,
Put that on my tombstone for me. Like
the finger my
finger the
muffin
muffin
guy.
guy. Yeah.
There you
Realize
go.
the finger the muffin guy.
Well,
That's a-
now
There's a T-shirt.
PJ's part of the poker group. You know about the poker.
Oh,
group.
you're in the poker group?
Yeah.
Now Gino's
I
actually
played a couple times.
He's played
Did you really?
He's
For
played
him.
for
Oh, we
me.
knew that. No, bullshit. We knew that. We knew that. We said that. Who's fucking playing? No.
was-
Oh, the truth
Oh,
is
the
told.
right over a couple of times.
I swear to fucking God, you weren't on the fucking Zoom and we
No,
knew that.
we were driving.
Yeah,
He
we
was
were driving and
whatever
I
it
was, yeah.
Wow, I swear to God, we're saying there's no way Riley made that play. There's no way. I swear to God. Is
So
this the
true.
first time this has ever come up?
No, yeah.
Yeah, I think it is, yeah.
Yeah.
It is, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I never told
this
anyone.
Yes.
It was
That's
two
the-
rides.
It was twice, yeah. I did it twice.
Twice.
Yeah, we knew.
Yeah,
we knew.
that's funny.
Yeah, we knew. You
I
could
think
ask everybody.
there was text sheet messages coming through too, yeah.
Yeah, you were like check raising,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
all this
yeah,
stuff.
I
and
do all
he's-
sorts of crazy shit, yeah.
Yeah, it's just, yeah. I remember, like,
I had like,
I said it out loud. I'm like, there's no way this is Riley.
I did a
Because
couple
he's a
check
puppy.
raises,
He's
yeah.
like a puppy. He's like, I have a king. King raise, like, hey.
Kings do king
Oh,
things.
that's funny.
Oh, I think I'll call. Yay. Like, that's all. Then here you come in with actual poker play. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
We fucking
It did throw
do it, dude. That's so funny, man.
did throw them.
You did tell me, you were like, they're going to know you're playing.
Ah, we
I
did?
said, yeah, because I'm horrible.
I did
Oh, that's
say-
so
oh,
funny.
God,
I said
this
they're
is
gonna
so
know
good,
you're
man.
playing,
That's
and
funny,
I'm not.
yeah.
This is so good.
And you did.
I can't wait till we talk about this.
You did.
Yeah.
You did.
And
I didn't
don't you
even-
guys play Monday nights?
Tuesdays.
No, Tuesdays.
Yeah, Tuesdays now. Used to
Tuesdays
be
or Wednesdays.
It's all
yeah.
different
But
nights.
I brought that up for a reason. Now I don't fucking remember.
Oh, just the stories. The
poker
stories
group.
you're
Yeah,
telling.
the group, poker
You're
group,
in
Tony
the poker
V.
group,
Yeah.
and fuck.
Sorry.
I don't
The
remember
stories, how we tell stories and just kind of.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, we do that, and a lot of times it's funny because we say, half of the shit couldn't be repeated.
No way.
No.
No.
I don't know if you
None of
remember.
us would have jobs.
Towards
Oh,
the beginning.
No.
No.
Like, if
Towards
you
the-
read my text chains, forget it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
Yeah.
No.
In the beginning, a couple people said, we should make this a podcast. And immediately,
Yeah.
like you, me, we're like, no, we can't.
No.
No, we can't.
I can tell
No,
the
we
story
can't.
now. I think I can tell the story.
Statute of limitation.
This is how bad the fucking. All right, so I'm gonna tell the story. I don't think I can get fired since we're in between schools right now. But so we're playing PokerStars, and then we got the Zoom, right?
Yeah.
And so the Zoom, right? You can change names if you're
yeah.
whoever. Yeah.
Right.
I forgot about this.
Yeah. So you can change the names if you're the host for everybody.
Yes,
Right?
yep.
So when I first got my prep school job, right, it was the same time where was that video where the guy went to online court and the judge was like, your name's not Buttfucker 3000, right? And he's like, oh, I had no idea. He's like coming to my court like that, Buttfucker 3000, right? I don't know it, but one of the guys in our little poker league thought it'd be funny, changed my name to Buttfucker 3001, right? And so, in the Knapsack Coaches Zoom, the first Coaches Zoom.
Oh my God,
yeah,
that's
man.
stay
Yeah,
on your
man.
Zoom.
So, by the grace of God, right? This is the only thing that saved me because those are recorded.
Yes.
Right? And I went back and I looked and I saw it pop up and then leave. I was like, you know what? I don't really know anybody, so I'm going to block my video. Right? So Buttfucker 3001 just showed
Showed
up
the
on
face.
the Knapsack Coaches thing when everybody's like he, him, she, her, like everybody's got the pronouns, and then you just and I'm looking at it and I go, Buttfucker 3001.
What a story.
Right? And I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, like somebody's oh shit, that's me. Right? And I leave the Zoom and then I fucking go to sign back out and I'm like, I can't, what are you doing? Like I'm like, who the fuck did this? Like I could have got fired. I haven't even started the job. I could have got fired because fucking Lou was like, thinks it'd be funny to go, Buttfucker 3001. So, and then I go back on and I change my name to PJ Thibodeau and then I come back on and I'm just like, oh, this is interesting. I'm 5 minutes late to the meeting. I'm just like, I thought for sure I was going to get fired. Yeah. That's the poker Zoom.
Didn't someone say to you, did you see?
Yeah, we were talking about it. We were talking about it later. One of the
Oh,
coaches.
you got to bring it up. You
Yeah.
should have brought it. Hey,
What?
you guys see that Buttfucker 3001?
That's just, no,
2001?
somebody I became friends with. We were talking about poker names. He's like, oh yeah, last year there was somebody that signed on Buttfucker 3001.
People knew, yeah.
And I didn't even say anything then. This is the first time I've admitted it in public. Like, yeah. This is just like
Now it's out in the universe.
yeah, it's out in the
One of
universe.
This is going to be a
greatest-
real.
all day. One of the greatest stories ever from our poker group.
Yeah.
But fucking 3001.
That's awesome.
2001, man. I never would.
That's one that can be told. Yeah.
Yeah, I can tell it now.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't my fault. Nobody would have.
What's
that is
what's
fucking
funny is when you
funny.
said, I think I can tell it now, there was about 10 different stories that popped in my
Oh,
head.
yeah.
Seriously, I was like, ooh, I wonder what he's going to go for. And I completely forgot about that one.
Especially me and him.
Yeah.
Right. Because we're both degenerates. You
Oh,
know?
yeah.
Like, so just the stories.
Everyone
Yeah.
has a line,
Yeah.
but PJ and
We
Yeah,
embrace
right.
it.
And you
that's
know
how-
that.
Oh, yeah.
You know that.
There's been a few times where I've just like, wow, I'm offended. So I think that's too far. Like if somebody says something like,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's awesome.
But that's it. That's what we were talking about with comedy, just trying to find that line, and it's, I got to tell the story about I was telling you guys last week, being a comic in real life is weird. Because that's all I did for a long time.
Right.
I just did comedy. And I hated in real life if people knew I was a comedian because they expect you to
be funny. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You also have to be a little bit funny if they know, because, if you're not, people leave and like, that guy's not funny at all.
Make me laugh, clown.
Yeah. Dude, it's like that. It's
Right,
like,
yeah.
it's so like that. And so that's caused some grief with my wife and I. And I was telling them I had the worst story a couple of weekends ago.
another great one.
This is a couple of weekends ago. you know, like people, if they know you're a comic, right, they always try to tell you the horrible jokes.
Yeah, right.
Right. And you, like, people you look at, like, you know, with good jobs and people you never expect to have this joke come out of their mouth. They tell you this stuff and you're just like, you're horrified. And then, you know, I'm a narcissist because I'm a comic. So I think everything's about me. So if I get in these situations, you know, with my wife's friends, I feel like I've got to be funny. I've got to try to figure out the crowd. I've got to bounce it back and forth. We're driving to this brunch, right, with coworkers. So her new boss is going to be there. And she tells me, don't be stupid. Don't do anything stupid, right? Okay, no problem. I know what that means.
Yeah, that's very loaded.
And I get there, and he's chumming up with me. He's like, oh, I heard you're a comedian. I was like, yeah. He's like, oh, I always wanted to be a comedian. I was like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, really? Her boss now? This is going to come for her boss?
We don't hear that at all.
No, you don't want to hear that at all.
No.
Like, and I'm expecting the joke, and he's talking about, you know, some of his favorite comedians. And I was like, all right, that wasn't that bad. And I'm waiting for the joke. So we start getting our food, right? And he goes for the jelly tray, you know, that stack of jellies that's at the table. He goes for the jelly tray, and he slides it over, and he grabs two, and he goes to the table. He's like, anybody know what the difference between jam and marmalade is? Right? And I look at him, and he's like looking at me, and I go, oh, classic, right? And so we got eye contact here, and he's like looking, and I was like,
He wanted you to finish it.
He's like, do you know? And I was like, oh, yeah, I know. And then he kind of gives me like this look, you know, like, are you going to say it? And I was like,
It's a joke, bro.
You can't marmalade your finger in my mom's ass, right? Dead silence. Dead silence. Right? There are 10 fucking people at this table. I'm the only one that knows this joke. It's clear by the look of horror on everybody's face, right? I'm the only one that knows
Your
this
wife
joke.
puts up my like,
And I look, I can feel her burning, right? And so then immediately I'm trying to explain the joke. I'm like, no, that's a joke. It's a classic joke. It's like usually jam or jelly, but and then she's like, stop, right? I'm like, I go, no, it's an
have
old
to
joke.
explain the joke, yeah.
And I'm like looking at a couple of husbands, like, you guys know, and they're looking at me like, no, that's horrible. And I look down, and he's got jam and marmalade in his hand. He's got one thing of jam and he's got one thing of marmalade. And I'm just like, well, if you look at it online, it's an old. I go, I'm sorry, I didn't know, right? And so
I'm gonna be out the car.
it's dead silence, right? And I'm just like, I'm sorry. And she's like, no, right? And I get that whole thing. And then I look down, and then I got my English muffins just sitting there, plain, right? And I'm just like,
Can I have the marmalade?
can I get the jelly? You know, fucking horrible. So, yeah. So that happened, man. That happened.
God. And I'll take it a step further. You tell the story on the Poker Zoom.
Yeah. Oh my God.
And all of a sudden, we're like, what is the difference between marmalade and jelly anyway? And who knew? Tony V.
Yeah.
He goes, well, there's sugar and marmalade.
Yeah,
and,
more sugar and marmalade, more fruit and
more
jam.
fruit and jam.
Yeah.
And jelly
Or
is kind of
preserves. You can also throw in preserves. Yeah.
Fucking, my God.
We have all these moments. And that's kind of like the, you know, when I've been writing, like if I write a joke, almost every bit I have is based on something that either happened or almost happened.
Right.
You know, it's like, you know what, it would have been funny. You know, like the YMCA joke. That is a true story.
Oh my God.
My buddy Brad,
my favorite.
we were at a nightclub. He was dancing with this girl that had one arm. Right. And so, like, I got a long bit, then I'm just going to cut to the joke. And I just said to my buddy, I said, I should go request YMCA. To the Village people, you know, and then it became a joke, and then it became this this big thing, and you know, so like,
well, because she was an asshole to you earlier.
Well, yeah, that was in
the just so people are like, what a fucking asshole.
Yeah, I'm not trying to make fun of one-armed people.
No,
it's called jokes.
I call the one-armed kid for holding.
Yeah,
in a hockey game, so we're good.
Yeah. The worst part about that joke is there was a time where I was trying to work on a set for Conan O'Brien. I was trying to get on Conan, so that joke, you know, I was figuring, all right, do I put it in the front, back, whatever, and you know, 2 weeks, you know, to kind of get ready for the audition for that, and this is at the old Comedy Connection in Faneuil Hall, and so I'm bouncing around from club to club, and I'm trying to do, you know, a tight 6-minute set
Right.
with the same jokes moving around, see what works, see what doesn't work. So I show up late to the Comedy Connection where I worked regularly. I was like one of the hosts, and they have this fundraiser there, some cycling fundraiser. And so I said, I'll try to put the YMCA joke, that joke, right up front. And so I go up on stage. I tell that joke up front, and it's dead silence. And it's like, I never got anything. And I was just like, is there somebody with one arm here? And I turn around, and the director, I didn't realize, the director of the charity had one arm, and I was just like, well, I want to apologize to everybody. I'm not going to finish the rest of my set, but you guys have a great night. Good luck with the charity. It's just like horrible.
Like George Costanza. That's it. I'm out. I'm out. Jerry, I'm out.
Yeah, I don't know, but those are the things. Like you trying to, I don't know. Part of me hates myself.
Like,
part of me.
I have a daughter with special needs, right? Like anytime I hear like comics or like joke about special needs, if it's funny, I'll laugh. If it's not, I don't have to I'm not sitting there taking offense to it, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's not personally attacking my daughter or the special needs community. It's just making I don't know, making light of everything. No different than
everything should be on the table for comedy.
Exactly.
Everything.
At a certain point, something too soon. You gotta wait for certain things.
Right.
That's part of the internet that I hate. A tragedy happens.
You gotta
immediately. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the jokes and all that shit comes out. I can't stand it. Have some. Gives the people some time to mourn until they're ready to at least come across. Yeah, come on.
And when you take a topic that is difficult to talk about or something, there's low hanging fruit. There's an easy joke everywhere.
Yeah.
But then the genius of it is crafting and writing something that is clever, makes it funny, and makes people think.
I'm taking notes because I'm getting my 5 minutes ready.
Yeah, I know. You're doing 5 minutes.
I want to do 5 minutes.
For the ref banquet.
That's what I was going to say.
Hey, Wednesday, this July 16th.
I remembered. You said, put it on my tombstone, and in the poker group, we all agreed that when we die, we're each doing 5 minutes at our funeral. 5 minutes of comedy.
At the wake.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
At the wake.
Yeah, we're going to at the
That's
wake.
what I was
Jimmy
gonna
Doyle,
say.
if my father croaks before Jimmy Doyle, he's breaking up the fucking yellow pad.
Oh,
at the Naihoa hockey banquets, it's just like a big shit on my old man. Half of my father's the brunt of the joke. It's hilarious.
That's what I remember. Anyway, now I forget what I was going to say.
You guys got good friends.
Right?
Yeah.
Nothing's off the.
Nothing.
Crafting, being clever, and so it's that. I do a whole bit about the whole identifying thing, and I did it. I think the first time I did it was 2015 or 16, well before everyone had a trans joke and everyone had this.
Yeah.
But it's kind of making fun of the fact that there's 63 genders, right? But it's in a way that I'm actually shitting on myself for not knowing and not understanding it.
Yeah.
Right? So there's that kind of
Arc of the
craft,
joke, yeah.
right? That you have to present it in a way that's funny, but people realize I'm not making fun of anyone. I'm making fun of myself.
Yeah.
You make fun of yourself a lot in your bit too, in your comedy.
I do.
Yeah.
I do, because it's funny.
Yeah.
And if you can't laugh at
Low-hanging
yourself,
Low hanging fruit. Yeah.
God knows I'm known for it.
Yeah. Well, at your age, they're hanging lower. Hey!
Oh!
Singer!
That your new stuff?
That's one of
That's a
our
fucking
lines.
good
Yeah,
thing,
that's a good
too.
line.
Someone will say something funny or try to be funny.
Yeah,
and
they started making fun of me when I said I was coming back to do stand up, and I said just a regular comment that was slightly funny, and then I think it was Jimmy Dunn who was just like,
yeah.
That your new stuff?
It's
And
not
now
that
that's
all.
Did you see that sculpture on Jimmy Dunn's page today on his Instagram?
No.
On the beach, some guy did a portrait of his mug on the beach.
Oh, my
They're
God.
hey, Jimmy Dunn coming this whatever couple
it
of weeks.
still there? I'll go
It's
see.
hilarious.
Oh, we have
It was on Instagram today. I gave it a like. Yeah,
What
it's
beach?
absolutely hysterical. Hampton, I think.
Go teabag that thing right now.
Yeah.
I'll drive.
Hey, Jimmy!
Get the camera ready. It won't fit in a selfie.
I think the second the guy was done, the ocean washed it away anyway.
That's a shame. That's a shame.
Go teabag.
Yeah, that was on my bucket list. Yeah. I love Jim.
No, well, and that's the cool part in it. Comedy and refereeing mimicking each other in a great way because the camaraderie, the friendships, that connection that you make is so parallel. I mean, it really is because I've lived in both worlds, and both worlds are the same. You know, I have people I met in refereeing that I know I'm going to be friends for the rest of my life.
Right.
And there's people in comedy that I know I'm going to be friends for the rest of my life.
It's a hard thing to be a ref or a coach or a comedian. You got to go through so much shit, right?
Together,
so you
right?
have respect for the people that are going through the shit with you,
Right?
You know,
Yeah.
and that is a huge part of comedy.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
just to be able to hang out, with the guys that are, just,
That's why I like that wedding I went to last weekend. It was like a reunion. Like I saw guys I'm in touch with them all the time online and shit, but it's like, you're never really in the same room all the time anymore because you're not working together as much, So it's like, it was kind of cool.
yeah.
And what do? We bust each other's balls.
That's how you
Right?
show affection. My wife was like, "You guys are so horrible to each other." I'm like, that's how we bond. She's like, no, it's awful. She's like, awful. She's like, I couldn't even listen to it. It's just so mean. I'm like, nah, it's funny.
Well, did you hear your wife on the phone talking about Susie? But she was talking to Christine.
But it's people outside of it don't realize. And plus, this area, and I won't say just Boston, but because it extends to Rhode Island, it extends up. We grew up fucking with each other.
Yeah.
That's all we did was fuck with each other.
Yeah.
That's why I have friends that are probably funnier than me. They couldn't get on stage and do what I do, but in a room with, the guys.
The adversity
they're
you face
fucking
as an
hilarious.
athlete.
They'll crush, yeah.
Look at Lou and Kevin,
Yeah.
part of the poker group. Lou and Topper and Kevin Mealy, they're civilians, as I call them, in the poker group.
No, you
they're
don't.
just as fucking funny as us. Well, I call them other things. But yeah, no, they're not comedians.
No.
But they're fucking hilarious.
Very funny.
They're in the group.
You make me laugh all the time, right? So,
Yeah,
but
apparently he's in the fucking poker club.
well,
Apparently he's played twice.
on occasion.
I haven't seen any fucking money from it.
When I
You shouldn't be expecting money from his account.
well, I give you plenty every
I know,
week.
that's what I'm
I
saying.
think I had a bad beat against Jimmy too in that game too. Yeah, I remember that.
He should be
I had a
playing.
bad beat.
Only when I
remembers
say,
about it.
"Oh, I'm taping that night. I can't be on Zoom."
Yeah.
You know who's playing.
I do now. I cannot wait. I cannot wait to have that conversation tomorrow night.
So great.
Yeah.
It's so great.
Yeah, I've missed it, because of that feeling on stage. I had a horrible show Saturday night, like the venue, music on the other side. Like there was a band playing. There's only two people on the other side in the bar, and there's two people in the band, and they're playing, they're loud. I'm trying to do a comedy show on the other side, so I just started singing back. When they were singing, at just one point people couldn't hear me, so I just started singing back at them, and I think they stopped.
So
It was a lot louder. It's like,
I saw him perform. This was I was probably just 21, 22 years old, right? And it was at a golf tournament Boston Bob ran. It was at the Westin Hotel. And it was like a big full room, like sold out golf tournament, right? Everybody's shit faced and we're all eating dinner, right? Boston Bob just starts opening the mic. Oh yeah, we're gonna bring some comedy people on, blah 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 blah. Here you go. Just handed Riley a mic. And then he just had to perform over everybody talking all over him. Everybody's eating. Nobody even knows. And then I'm paying attention. I'm like, oh, Riley's just on stage. I'm like, this is awesome.
yeah.
I was like the only one paying attention to the whole fucking shit show. And he absolutely bombed because no one paid attention.
Yeah.
And I remember you just yelling at the crowd and you were like, Bob, he kind of set me up to feel. And somebody came in and crushed. He was on
No, so that was...
He was on one of the comic. He was on one of those TV shows. He wanted. He was hilarious.
No, it was
the bald guy there.
No, it was not Corey Manning. It was
Corey Rodriguez?
no.
Orlando Baxter.
No.
You said
Keep
Corey
naming-
Manning, so I'm going with all the black comics.
Yeah, it was a black
what you're
comic.
supposed
Yeah,
to
Black comic.
bald. He was bald.
No,
Chris Tabb.
Chris Tabb. And the way it was supposed
was
to
funny,
work,
yeah.
Chris was supposed to go first, and then I was supposed to go second, but Chris was late, and so I went on. and I
We're
took
not
the
gonna
bullet.
touch that joke.
Oh, he took the big bullet. Yeah. I felt
Yeah,
bad.
no, I'm leaving that one alone too. It's there, and you know what's funny is I blocked that out of my memory because it was painful.
Oh, yeah?
You just fucking brought it up.
Yeah. So either the money was good or he's doing a favor for somebody.
There was no money. I was doing it for fucking Boston
the
Bob's.
worst.
Yeah,
for
there was
nothing.
no money. It was
I think Chris got paid. I didn't.
It was a nice meal though.
I didn't even eat. I was too fucking angry.
Nice meal. This kid doesn't eat normal food anyways.
Yeah, that's true, too.
You know what I mean? Like, you ever go out to eat with him? It's just like,
He's like,
I
eats like a
got plain
pigeon.
chicken and some lettuce with no dressing. Like,
And broccoli,
yeah, broccoli, no gluten. What the hell?
I mean, look how nice the skin is.
Yeah, he looks good. He's 87 years old. He looks like that. So.
I do look good for 87.
I mean, you guys
I'm
do
gonna
got some
say
nice
that.
flat tops.
Yeah,
lettuce.
that's
Yeah,
the
I
only
like
thing
this.
I got, man.
I have nothing.
Got
I'm
this here.
thin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the
You
hat's
got
nice. So
Yeah.
The hat's nice.
yeah. Nice.
Looks good on you though. You get a free bowl of soup with that.
I'm gonna tell you. This is Mr. Wang. Excuse the
Keep a couple
expression.
of those naked lady tees. Some of those.
Well, this has been very good. This has been awesome.
Yeah, this has been.
It was fun, man.
Yeah, this is funny.
And let me just say, like, as an outsider, I like hockey. I'm not a huge hockey guy like you guys. I watch all the clips. In the beginning, it was because of Mark, and then now it's because of the show. You guys have great chemistry. You do a
appreciate
great
that.
job with your guests, and to see the level of guests. By the way, I think I'm the second most famous person from Pawtucket, Rhode Island, to be on this show. Dave Gosher.
Dave Gosher.
Dave
Dave
Gosher?
Gosher. We're both
All
from
right.
Pawtucket. Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
You grew up with him.
Sort of.
Sort of.
He was
Yeah,
awesome, yeah.
Sort of. He was a little bit older. He dated a friend of ours.
Right on.
Yeah. Arthritis in both hands. That's all I'll say.
Frank Center.
Yeah. But you guys do an amazing job with this. So
Thanks, man.
we're
Thank you.
Really, really happy to be part of this. So
No, thanks for coming on.
We're happy to have you. Seriously.
And welcome back to the comedian world.
yeah, thank you. Yeah, looking forward to it. So
Yeah, most of the shows I do, I put them on.
Wednesday the 16th of our August, the last week in August. It's like a Wednesday.
I already had
we
him
got two.
planned.
Yeah, so we got two.
Yeah.
Two things we're trying to cook up for for the boys.
We do the golf tournament for all the refs, and then we do afterwards. We usually tape, and then we had a comedy show last year. Tony V, Jimmy Dunn did.
Oh
it.
yeah, so
Year before, Greg Murphy
Yep.
was there.
And then the year before
Paul
that,
Nardizzi.
not dizzy. Yeah.
So when we were talking about it, I had him in my mind for this year.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
love to.
Yeah. So like
in.
this year we're gonna do two. So one in July, one in August. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
Awesome.
he's in.
He's in.
He's in. So
Very good.
Well, PJ Thibodeau.
Is now when we take our pants off?
Yes.
Well, we're still rolling.
Oh, my bad.
Oh. You've been wearing pants this whole time?
I know you told
Gino's been making this whole episode from the waist down. Of course, no one would tell. No, we want PJ Thibodeau has been our guest. Check out his comedy. Do you have you're on the socials again or no?
I'm sort of on the socials.
Sort of
I
on
was
the
still trying to get another prep job, so
Oh,
I
yeah.
was just holding off to make sure I was
Yep.
Yeah.
fully over. So
Because that's what they do now. All the jobs, they check all your socials.
yeah. So and
Yeah.
if you sitting there talking about people with one arm or marmalade in somebody's finger in your mom's ass. Probably not going to get that.
There's a reason why
Probably
you,
not going to get that job at
I still
Tabor.
have a job.
yeah.
there's a reason why you came on episode 67 and not 7.
Actually, we had Grav on 7, so I don't know what was worse.
Yeah, well, it's Trev. But we appreciate you, man.
Yes.
And,
Thank you.
Thank you, man.
One of my favorite
See you in
people.
the polka world.
Yeah,
Apparently.
he could actually be.
Yeah, we know, dude.
Another civilian. No, I'm saying.
No, we know. We saw.
You don't want to let
I
him
wish
in
we
'cause
had
he's
film.
good.
I wish we had film in that night
Oh my God.
of us talking about.
Yeah,
his-
because
But
he
what's
definitely
funny
said
is,
that. Yeah.
in the car, I said, they're going to know it's not me. And on the
He's like,
Zoom,
don't play
you're
too
going,
good, yeah.
there's no fucking way it's Riley.
Yeah. When the fuck does he have a check raise? That's what we said.
I don't even know what a check raise is.
Yeah, we know.
But kings do king things.
Yeah.
That's all I know.
His move, right? Legendary. Yeah, fuck it.
Yeah, right. Fuck
Well, early on.
Well, I kept asking him, like, hey, you want me to? I would tell him the hands, and I'm like, what do you want me to do? I was kind of letting him dictate a couple of them, and then I was like,
But
okay,
then they do the
you're done.
opposite.
Yeah.
I'd say, raise, and you'd go click, check. I knew you were doing the opposite.
Yeah, you had to.
Yeah. But my whole thing was sometimes you'd go, fuck it, and I'd go all in. And that became a thing. Actually, that's chapter, I think, 6.
We played a lot of poker down Chugga's basement growing up on his pool table.
Yeah.
I'd say, a lot of battles. So, yeah.
Well, join in if you're not reffing that night.
All right.
Kansas City Nut League.
Very good.
You got to fill out
California Penal League.
There's an application you got to fill out.
All right.
So we'll check your references and your background.
You have his Venmo?
And it's for peanuts, right?
Yeah.
Not gambling.
No,
that's a fun.
It started that way.
It started that way. It was for nut. That's why it's the Kansas City Nut League. We started playing for bags of nuts. We'd have like whoever hit 20 points or whatever.
Yeah, I joined in late, and I'm a bad influence with all of this stuff. I'm like, why are we playing for nuts? You know, like, well, that's what we always did. It's tradition. I'm like, how about we just play for $5? All right.
$5 turns into
Yeah.
And then 7 deuce came in.
The knockout
involved.
games and 7 deuce games. And
Oh,
Deuce.
yeah, those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's fun.
It's fucking
Light
blast.
lifting and a lot of laughs.
It kept us sane throughout COVID.
Oof.
For real.
For real.
Right?
Yeah, we did it with my buddies during COVID, too. Yeah, we all got the poker going.
Yeah.
You had to do something. Right? Couldn't goon the whole time. All right. THIBODEAU's been our guest. Check him out on the comedy circuit. That's right. We want to thank our sponsor, the Referees Crease, your one-stop shop for all your refereeing needs. Want to thank AOA Studios for giving us this beautiful studio to tape at and also doing all our editing. Want to remind you to like and subscribe, smash the button on YouTube, and also follow us on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, and of course,
The TikTok
there you go.
and chirpingzebras.com. Don't forget all your nice merch. We had hats we didn't put out, but we do have hats.
We have hats.
Trucker hats.
Trucker hats. Very nice trucker hats.
Very nice.
And so definitely do that as well. And yeah,
See you next time.
and that's, I think, pretty much that's it, right? Episode 67.
We didn't. Obviously, we don't want this episode to end.
Yeah.
We had so much fun.
Well, most episodes take 10, 15 minutes to end.
That's true.
So why not this one?
You hang up.
Right?
No, you hang up.
That's pretty much what it is. It's a date in 9th grade. I don't know how to
We'll
end
hang
it.
up together.
All right. I don't know how to end it. No. Next time. See us next time. Gino Bender Jr., Mark Riley, PJ Thibodeau, our guest. We'll see you next time right here on Chirping Zebras.
Let's go.